Good morning, everyone. Have you ever been hurt by someone you loved, only for them to come back as if nothing happened? It's a confusing and painful cycle that many people experience. Today, I want to explore why men come back after hurting you and what it really means. Guilt is a powerful emotion that can drive people to act in ways they never expected. When a man hurts you, and later realizes the impact of his actions, he may feel an overwhelming sense of regret. This regret does not necessarily mean he has changed, but rather that he is struggling with the consequences of his behavior. He might start replaying past events in his mind, questioning his decisions and wondering if he made a mistake by walking away or causing you pain. In many cases, guilt emerges when he sees you suffering or hears about how deeply his actions affected you. If he left thinking you would be fine only to realize you are hurt, the weight of responsibility may start to settle in. No one likes to see themselves as the villain in someone else's story, so he may try to come back to fix things not necessarily because he's ready to change, but because he wants to ease his own conscience. Regret, on the other hand, often arises when a man realizes he took you for granted. At the time, he may have thought leaving or hurting you wouldn't make much of a difference. But as time passes, he begins to see what he lost. The moments of kindness, love, and support you provided become clearer in his mind. He might even compare his life now to the life he had with you and start to feel an emptiness that he didn't expect. Sometimes the guilt isn't just about how he treated you, it's about how he sees himself. If he hurt you in a way that goes against his own morals or self-image, he might struggle with an internal conflict. He may have always thought of himself as a good person, but now his actions don't align with that belief. This creates discomfort, and one way to relieve that discomfort is to seek your forgiveness. Another reason guilt drives men back is the fear of judgment from others. If friends, family, or mutual acquaintances disapprove of his actions, he may feel pressured to make amends. Social perception can be a strong motivator, especially if he doesn't want to be seen as a bad person. In this case, his return might be more about repairing his reputation rather than genuinely making things right with you. Guilt can also create a false sense of love. Sometimes a man confuses guilt with missing someone. He may feel bad for what he did and mistake that feeling for still being in love. But true love isn't driven by guilt, it's built on mutual respect and a sincere desire to make things work. This is why it's important to look at his actions rather than just his words when he comes back. For some men, guilt is temporary. They may come back, apologize, and expect things to return to normal without actually putting in the effort to change. This is because their goal isn't necessarily to rebuild the relationship, it's to relieve the emotional burden they are carrying. Once they feel forgiven, they may go back to their old ways, leaving you hurt once again. Ultimately, guilt and regret can push a man to return, but it's not always for the right reasons. It's important to understand whether his return is about making things right for you or simply making himself feel better. If his regret is genuine, it will be followed by consistent effort and real change. If not, it may just be another cycle of temporary apologies and repeated mistakes. Loneliness is one of the strongest emotions that can push a man to come back after hurting you. When he first leaves, he might feel a sense of freedom, thinking he made the right choice. He may enjoy the single life, spending time with friends, or even exploring new romantic connections. But over time, when the excitement fades, loneliness begins to creep in. The absence of someone who truly cared for him becomes more noticeable, and he starts to realize that being alone is not as fulfilling as he imagined. Many men don't fully appreciate what they had until they experience life without it. When he was with you, he had emotional support, companionship, and someone who genuinely cared about his well-being. But once he's on his own, he may find that the world isn't as kind. Other people won't invest in him the way you did. This sudden realization can make him long for the comfort and security he once had with you. Another reason loneliness hits hard is that men often struggle with emotional vulnerability. Society teaches men to suppress their emotions and not rely on others for emotional support. However, when they lose the one person who made them feel safe, they start feeling isolated. This loneliness isn't just about missing your presence. It's about missing the emotional safety net you provided. If he tried to replace you quickly with someone new, that relationship may not have worked out the way he expected. Some men jump into rebounds to fill the void, only to realize that no one else understands them the way you did. When the thrill of something new wears off, they are left feeling even lonelier than before. This makes them reconsider their decision and look back at what they lost. Loneliness also becomes more intense during certain moments, holidays, birthdays, or late nights when there's no one to talk to. When he was with you, he had someone to share these moments with, but now he feels a sense of emptiness. These triggers make him nostalgic, and in his mind he starts romanticizing the past, forgetting the reasons why things ended in the first place. Another aspect of loneliness is routine. Humans are creatures of habit, and when someone has been in your life for a long time, their absence creates a void. He may feel lonely simply because you were part of his daily life, texting in the morning, sharing meals, or watching movies together. When those little things disappear, he starts feeling the impact of your absence. For some men, loneliness is not just emotional, but also physical. If he was used to having you around, hugging, holding hands, or just sitting close, he may start missing that physical intimacy. Even if he thought he didn't need it at first, the lack of touch and closeness can make him feel isolated, pushing him to reach out and come back. Ultimately, loneliness can be a powerful motivator for a man to return, but it doesn't always mean he truly values the relationship. Sometimes he just wants to fill the void temporarily, without real intentions of making things right. Understanding why he is coming back is crucial to determining whether he deserves another chance. One of the biggest reasons a man comes back after hurting you is that he sees you moving on without him. At first, he may have assumed you would wait for him, struggle without him, or even beg for him to return. But when he realizes that you are not only surviving but thriving, it triggers something deep inside him: jealousy, regret, or even a bruised ego. The idea that you are no longer affected by him can be a hard pill for him to swallow. Men often underestimate the strength of a woman they hurt. When they leave, they might expect you to fall apart, but when they see you smiling, achieving goals, or even dating someone new, they start questioning their decisions. It forces them to reflect on what they lost, and suddenly they feel an urgent need to reclaim what they once had. It's not necessarily because they have changed, but because they don't want to feel replaced. Social media plays a huge role in this realization. A simple picture of you laughing, traveling, or spending time with someone new can make him rethink everything. Even if he convinced himself that breaking up was the right choice, seeing you genuinely happy without him can create doubt. He starts wondering if he was the problem all along, and instead of letting you go, he tries to come back into your life. The idea of you moving on also threatens his sense of importance. As long as he believed you were still emotionally attached to him, he felt a level of control over the situation. But when he sees you healing and enjoying life, that control slips away. This can make him desperate to regain a place in your life, not necessarily because he loves you, but because he doesn't want to feel powerless. Another major reason men return when they see you moving on is competitiveness. Some men have a strong desire to win, and when they see you potentially falling for someone else, they feel the need to compete for your attention again. It's not always about love, it's about proving that they can still have you if they want to. This is why some men resurface the moment you start dating someone new, even if they had no interest before. He may also feel a sense of regret that he didn't appreciate you when he had the chance. When you were together, he might have overlooked your value, but seeing you grow and glow without him makes him realize what he took for granted. The things he once ignored, your kindness, loyalty, and support, now stand out to him, making him question why he ever let you go. The fear of permanent loss also plays a role. As long as you were still emotionally connected to him, he had hoped that he could return anytime. But when he sees you moving forward, he understands that his chances are slipping away. This fear of losing you for good can make him rush back, even if he's not truly ready to be a better partner. Ultimately, when a man sees you moving on, it forces him to confront his own emotions, fears, and regrets. However, the real question is, does he want you back because he truly values you, or does he just want to stop you from being happy without him? Understanding his true motives is key before deciding whether to let him back into your life. One of the biggest reasons a man comes back after hurting you is his fear of losing control. When he walked away or treated you poorly, he may have assumed that you would always be there waiting for him. But when he starts to realize that you are slipping away, that fear kicks in. He doesn't necessarily want to commit, but he also doesn't want to lose the power he once had over you. Control doesn't always mean he is intentionally manipulating you. It can be subconscious. Some men thrive on knowing that someone out there still cares deeply about them, even after they've hurt that person. It gives them a sense of security, knowing that no matter what they do, there's still someone who will pick up their calls, reply to their messages, or welcome them back. When they sense that this control is fading, they panic and try to regain it. This fear intensifies when he sees you setting boundaries and standing up for yourself. If you were always forgiving and patient in the past, he may have assumed he could treat you however he wanted without serious consequences. But when you finally stop tolerating his behavior, he feels threatened. The power dynamic has shifted, and he no longer has the upper hand. Another major factor is his fear of losing emotional security. Even if he hurt you, he might have still relied on your love and support to boost his own self-worth. When he realizes that you are no longer prioritizing him, it leaves a void in his life. He suddenly starts craving the validation that he once took for granted, and he comes back to get it often without any real intention of changing. Some men also fear seeing you happy with someone else because it means they have truly lost control. As long as you are single and healing, he may still believe there's a chance to return. But the moment he senses that another man is stepping into his place, his ego takes a hit. He doesn't want to commit fully, but he also doesn't want to watch someone else treat you better than he did. Control is also about familiarity. Humans are creatures of habit, and if he was used to being an important figure in your life, the idea of being replaced is unsettling. Even if he wasn't good to you, he might still see you as his in some way. When you start reclaiming your independence, he feels the loss of control and suddenly wants to come back, not because he loves you, but because he hates the feeling of being powerless. Sometimes the fear of losing control makes a man act in desperate ways. He may suddenly flood you with apologies, grand gestures, or promises to change, all in an attempt to regain his influence over you. However, if his actions aren't followed by real effort and consistency, it's likely just a way to pull you back into his cycle. Ultimately, his return may have less to do with love and more to do with his own insecurities. If he is only coming back because he fears losing control, then his presence in your life is more about his needs than yours. Recognizing this is crucial in deciding whether his return is truly in your best interest. One of the main reasons a man comes back after hurting you is because of the comfort and familiarity you provided in his life. When he was with you, he became used to your presence, your love, and your support. Even if you took these things for granted at the time, once he steps away, he begins to realize how much he relied on the sense of stability you gave him. No matter where he goes or who he meets, he may struggle to find that same level of comfort elsewhere. Humans are creatures of habit, and relationships, especially long-term ones, become part of our daily routines. If he spent months or years with you, your presence became an essential part of his life, even in small ways. The way you texted him in the morning, the way you listened to him vent about his problems, or the way you supported his dreams all became things he unknowingly depended on. When those things are suddenly gone, he may feel lost and start craving the familiarity of what he had with you. Sometimes men don't fully appreciate the comfort of a relationship until they step into the unfamiliar. If he left thinking he could find something better, or if he tried to embrace the single life, he may soon realize that the world outside your relationship isn't as easy or fulfilling as he thought. Dating new people, forming new connections, or even just being alone can feel exhausting compared to the security he once had with you. He may also return because he realizes that you were a safe space for him. If he had problems in his personal life, work stress, family issues, or personal insecurities, you were likely the person he turned to for reassurance and emotional support. Even if he didn't always acknowledge it, your presence made his life easier. Now that you're gone, he has to face those challenges alone, and that can be overwhelming. Another reason familiarity pulls men back is that starting over is hard. Building a new relationship from scratch requires time, patience, and emotional investment. He would have to go through the process of getting to know someone new, earning their trust, and understanding their habits. Instead of putting in that effort, it's often easier for him to return to someone who already knows him well. Comfort isn't just emotional, it's also physical. You might miss the small things, the way you held his hand, the way you laughed at his jokes, or even the way you argued. Even if your relationship had problems, there were moments that made him feel safe and cared for. When those moments disappear, he may long for the physical closeness that once brought him comfort. Additionally, some men come back because they associate you with a version of themselves that they liked. When he was with you, he may have felt happier, more confident, or more stable. Without you, he might feel disconnected from that version of himself, and returning to you feels like a way to regain that lost identity. Ultimately, when a man comes back out of comfort and familiarity, it doesn't necessarily mean he is ready to change or offer you a better relationship. It may simply mean that he misses the convenience of what you provided. Recognizing whether he truly values you or just misses the ease of having you in his life is essential before deciding whether to let him die. Many men return after hurting you because they never truly believed you would leave for good. They may have assumed that no matter how they treated you, you would always be there waiting, forgiving, and hoping they would change. When they suddenly realize that you are serious about walking away, it shocks them into action. The idea that you are no longer accessible makes them panic and reconsider their decisions. Some men take kindness and patience for granted. If you always forgave him in the past, he may have developed a false sense of security, believing that he could continue making mistakes without real consequences. He might have tested your limits over and over, thinking that you would always take him back. But when you finally choose yourself and leave, it disrupts his expectations, making him desperate to win you back. For a long time, he may have believed he had power over the situation. As long as you were emotionally invested, he felt safe knowing that you still cared. This sense of control made him comfortable, and he never imagined a reality where you would truly move on. When he realizes that you are no longer giving him your energy, attention, or emotions, he suddenly feels like he is losing something valuable. Sometimes, men underestimate a woman's strength. He may have thought you were too attached to ever leave, believing that you couldn't picture a life without him. But when you break free, build your own happiness, and refuse to engage in his toxic patterns, it forces him to see you in a different light. Your strength and independence become a wake-up call, making him regret taking you for granted. Seeing you leave for good can also trigger his fear of abandonment. Even if he was the one who hurt you, the finality of losing you forever can make him feel alone and anxious. He might not have been ready to commit before, but now that he sees you slipping away, he starts second-guessing everything. This fear can drive him to reach out, apologize, and try to convince you that he has changed. Another reason men come back when they realize you're gone is that they didn't fully process the breakup when it happened. At first, they might have brushed it off, thinking it was just another fight or temporary separation. But as time passes and they see that you are serious about cutting ties, reality hits them hard. The absence of your presence, love, and support makes them regret their actions. The longer you stay away, the more they start to feel the weight of their loss. He may have expected you to reach out first, thinking that you would miss him too much to let go. But when days, weeks, or even months go by without a word from you, it forces him to confront the possibility that he truly lost you. That's when the panic sets in, pushing him to make a sudden return. Ultimately, a man who didn't think you'd leave for good is often coming back out of fear, not love. He may not be returning because he has changed, but because he is struggling to accept the consequences of his actions. The key is to recognize whether his return is genuine or simply an attempt to regain control over something he thought he would never lose. One of the biggest reasons a man comes back after hurting you is because his ego needs validation. When he walked away, he may have assumed that you would still want him, miss him, or even chase after him. If that didn't happen the way he expected, his ego takes a hit. Instead of letting go, he comes back not necessarily because he loves you, but because he needs to prove to himself that he still has an effect on you. For some men, their self-worth is tied to how much power they have over others. If you were deeply in love with him before, he might have grown accustomed to the way you looked at him, cared for him, and prioritized him. Losing that attention can make him feel insecure. He might return just to see if he can still have access to you, using your reaction as proof that he is still desirable and important. Even if he was the one who ended things, he may still expect you to be emotionally attached. If he realizes that you are genuinely moving on, his ego might struggle with the idea that you no longer need him. The thought of being forgotten or replaced can be unbearable for some men, so they come back just to see if they still hold a place in your heart. This need for validation can also stem from competition. If he sees you happy, thriving, or dating someone new, he might feel an urgent need to remind you that he was once the most important person in your life. It's not always about rekindling the relationship, it's about proving that he still has influence over you. This is why some men suddenly reappear when they see their ex moving on with someone else. Social media can also trigger this reaction. If he sees you looking happy, confident, or successful, he may feel the need to insert himself back into your life just to see if he still matters. He might send a random message, leave a like on your post, or try to start a conversation. These small actions are often not about love, but about his need to feel like he still has a place in your world. For men with fragile egos, rejection is hard to handle. If he tries to reconnect and you don't respond the way he expects, whether by ignoring him or setting firm boundaries, it can make him even more determined to seek your attention. Some men will go to great lengths just to get a reaction, whether positive or negative, because any response feeds their ego and reassures them that they still affect you. Sometimes his return is simply a test. He may not actually want to be with you, but he wants to see if he still can. If you let him back in even briefly, it confirms that he still has a hold over you. This can give him a temporary confidence boost, but once his ego is satisfied, he may disappear again, leaving you hurt all over again. Ultimately, when a man comes back for ego validation, his focus is on himself, not on you. He is not thinking about your feelings, your healing, or what's best for you. Instead, he is seeking reassurance that he still has power over you. Recognizing this pattern is important, so that you don't fall into the trap of feeding his ego at the expense of your own well-being. There are rare instances when a man comes back after hurting you because he has genuinely changed. While this is not as common as other reasons, it does happen. Some men go through experiences that make them reflect on their past mistakes and realize the depth of the pain they caused. They may have lost you, faced hardships, or gone through personal growth that shifted their mindset. When they return, it's not just out of regret or loneliness, it's because they want to be a better person for you. Change often comes from deep self-reflection. A man who has truly changed will not only acknowledge his past mistakes, but also take full responsibility for them. He won't offer excuses, blame others, or downplay his actions. Instead, he will show a clear understanding of how he hurt you and will express genuine remorse. His apologies will not just be words, they will be backed up by actions that prove he has learned from his past behavior. Sometimes, life experiences force people to grow. A man who once lacked emotional maturity may have gone through situations such as losing someone important, facing failure, or experiencing heartbreak himself that made him see relationships differently. He may have realized that love is not something to take for granted, and that the way he treated you was unfair. In these cases, his return is driven by a sincere desire to make things right. One of the biggest indicators of real change is consistency. If a man has truly changed, his actions will align with his words over time. He won't just come back with grand promises and emotional apologies. He will demonstrate through steady, reliable behavior that he is different. He will show patience, respect your boundaries, and put in the effort to rebuild trust instead of expecting immediate forgiveness. Another sign of change is self-improvement. If he comes back and has worked on his personal issues such as emotional unavailability, insecurity, or immaturity, then there is a chance that he is returning as a better version of himself. This could mean he has sought therapy, developed healthier communication habits, or taken the time to understand himself and his past mistakes. True change happens when a person recognizes their flaws and actively works to improve them. A changed man will also respect your healing process. He won't pressure you to take him back or expect you to forget the past instantly. Instead, he will give you the space to decide what's best for you. He will understand that trust takes time to rebuild and will be willing to put in the effort without demanding immediate reconciliation. However, it's important to be cautious. Many men claim to have changed just to get another chance, but their behavior eventually falls back into old patterns. Real change is rare because it requires deep internal work. If his return is genuine, it will be evident in how he treats you, how he respects your emotions, and how much effort he puts into showing you that he is truly different. Ultimately, while some men do change, it is up to you to determine whether his growth is real or just another attempt to win you back. Actions speak louder than words. And if he has truly evolved, it will show in how he consistently treats you, not just in his promises or apologies. One of the main reasons a man comes back after hurting you is because you were his safe place. Whether he realized it at the time or not, you provided him with emotional security, comfort, and unconditional support. When he was with you, he felt understood, accepted, and valued in a way that he may not have experienced elsewhere. After leaving, he may have assumed he could find that same level of warmth and stability elsewhere, only to realize that what you gave him was rare. In many relationships, one person naturally becomes the emotional anchor, and often that person is you. You may have been the one he turned to when he was stressed, lost, or uncertain. You provided him with reassurance, listened to his struggles, and helped him navigate difficult times. Even if he didn't always show appreciation for it, deep down he relied on your emotional presence to keep him grounded. When that presence is gone, he may feel an unexpected void in his life. Men in particular are often taught to suppress their emotions and avoid vulnerability. In you, he may have found a safe space where he could express himself without judgment. You may have been one of the few people he felt truly comfortable opening up to. When he realizes that losing you means losing that emotional safety, it can push him to come back, not necessarily because he wants to fix things, but because he craves the comfort you once provided. This feeling of safety goes beyond emotions, it's also about familiarity. When a man is with someone who makes him feel safe, he doesn't have to put up walls or pretend to be someone he's not. He can be flawed, make mistakes, and still be accepted. If he ventures into the world and finds that other relationships don't offer the same level of acceptance and security, he may start longing for what he lost. Life has a way of making people appreciate what they once took for granted. If he left thinking he could find happiness elsewhere, he may have realized that not every relationship is built on genuine care and emotional connection. He may have encountered people who were indifferent to his struggles, uninterested in his growth, or unwilling to invest emotionally in him the way you did. That contrast can make him see just how much he lost when he walked away. Additionally, he may have underestimated how much he depended on you. When you were together, he might have assumed that he was independent and didn't need your emotional support as much as he actually did. Only when he finds himself struggling without you does he start to understand the depth of the role you played in his life. That realization can bring him back, hoping to regain the stability he once had. However, his return doesn't always mean he's ready to change or offer you the love and respect you deserve. Sometimes it's simply about seeking comfort. He may not be interested in truly fixing the relationship, he just wants to feel safe again. If he comes back only when life gets hard or when he's feeling lost, it could mean he sees you as an emotional refuge rather than an equal partner. Being someone's safe place is a beautiful thing, but it should never come at the expense of your own peace. If he truly values you, he will work to be a safe place for you as well. Otherwise, his return may only be a temporary escape from his own struggles, rather than a genuine effort to rebuild a healthier, more balanced relationship. One of the most frustrating reasons a man comes back after hurting you is that he does love you, but only on his terms. He may care about you deeply, but his love is often conditional, inconsistent, or self-serving. Instead of loving you in a way that makes you feel secure and valued, he loves you in a way that suits his own needs and desires. This means he may return when it's convenient for him, but disappear when commitment or accountability are required. For some men, love is not about mutual effort and respect, but about control. He may have feelings for you, but he wants to dictate the rules of the relationship. He wants access to your love, care, and presence, but only when he is ready to receive it. When things get too serious, or when you start expecting more from him, whether it's emotional vulnerability, commitment, or effort, he may withdraw, only to return when he feels ready again. This type of love is often inconsistent. He may shower you with affection one moment, then pull away the next. This push and pull dynamic can be confusing and emotionally draining because it keeps you in a cycle of hope and disappointment. When he comes back, he may tell you that he loves you and misses you, but his actions rarely align with his words. His love is real, but it is unreliable. Another issue with loving on his terms is that he may not want to change or grow in the ways you need. He might recognize that he hurt you, but instead of making an effort to be better, he expects you to accept him as he is, flaws, inconsistency, and all. He wants you in his life, but only if it doesn't require him to step outside of his comfort zone or work on his emotional shortcomings. In many cases, men like this return because they feel an emotional attachment, but they are not ready for true partnership. They may have deep feelings for you, but they lack the maturity, emotional intelligence, or commitment necessary to make the relationship healthy. Instead of letting you go so you can find someone who will love you fully, they keep coming back just enough to keep you emotionally invested. This type of love can also be selfish. Instead of considering your needs, he prioritizes his own. He may return when he is lonely, when he sees you moving on, or when he needs emotional support. However, when you need him to be consistent, supportive, or reliable, he may not be there for you in the same way. His love is present, but it is centered around what works best for him, not what is best for you. Over time, this pattern can leave you feeling emotionally exhausted. You may find yourself constantly questioning where you stand with him, wondering if this time will be different, only to be disappointed again. The problem isn't that he doesn't care, it's that he only knows how to love in a way that benefits him. Unless he recognizes this and actively works to change, the cycle will continue. Real love is not just about feelings, it is about effort, consistency, and mutual respect. If a man truly loves you, he will not only say it, but he will show it through his actions. Love that comes with conditions, control, or inconsistency is not the kind of love that will bring you peace. It is up to you to decide whether his return is worth accepting, or if it's time to choose a love that doesn't come with terms and limitations. When they come back, don't just listen to their words, watch their actions. And remember, you are not a backup plan, you are the main priority. Choose yourself first. Thank you.